It's Primus Tracks with Josh, Frankie, and Sawyer.
What a couple of dumb shits.
Hello, Primates! You found Primus Tracks. Congratulations. Our guest today was the original Primus guitarist, and you've heard his singular sound with Sausage, the Frog Brigade, and Porch. Please enjoy our conversation with the legend, Todd Huth.
And then you could just sit there and wait. Wait for however long it takes, and then just leave that in.
Yes.
Well, if you ever see me leave, like if I got to take a leak, that's the only time you're allowed to talk about David Bowie on this show.
That's right.
Oh yeah, Tim is the Bowie police. He doesn't allow any Bowie talk in this podcast.
Unless they go take a leak.
I'm not even. Who is that? I'm not even
exactly. Jay Lane said the same thing.
No, that's right. Yeah, Jay was like, who? What drummer? That was awesome.
Jay and I have been texting back and forth. I'm doing a little project with him.
Yeah.
And Eugene from Oxbow.
Yeah.
And Trevor Dunn.
Dude,
oh, cool.
Yes.
We just saw Trevor on the Victims Family Open for Bungle. We saw Trevor and Mike and those guys.
Oh, right.
It's not us really getting together. It's more me trying to corral them to write parts for me. Because those guys are way busier than I am.
And those
Trevor Dunn's a force to be reckoned with.
He's a madman.
He's incredible.
I met him a long time ago. He was living with Shannon Bell. Remember Shannon Bell, right?
Yeah, of course. Yeah,
he was living with her out in San Francisco in probably 1990 or something like that.
Yeah.
And he was that dude played all the time.
He said he's still jamming with Zorn. He's still doing all that crazy jazz. Fred Frith.
Oh yeah, he's going out with the Melvins again. So I guess he plays stand-up bass with the Melvins.
It's badass.
Yeah, it sounds good. I was listening to the cuts you put on Spotify, and I saw Trevor Dunn's name on there, and then he must have hit an open string or a low note, and I was like, that's exactly what it sounds like on that one Melvins album. When he plays stand-up too, I was like, I'd recognize that sound anywhere. Like,
well, he kind of brought the cool thing about Trevor is because most of the stuff that I've done with those guys, and I'm about ready to shoot Eugene another song, it was all online. Those guys they've never even met, and because COVID and stuff, nobody wanted to get together and all this kind of stuff, and it was just hard anyway. So it usually started out with Eugene or Jay, and then I had Trevor come in, and Trevor he knows how to bring it together. It's like because writing online, it's a skill in itself, and to be the last guy to come in after everybody's doing all this shit. Yeah, he came in and laid his stuff down, and dude's badass. So,
amazing.
Yeah.
I'm just giving Trevor some props here.
I was going back through the Primus book. You talked a lot you had a lot of stuff in the Primus book there, and it sounded like you started guitar at a really early age. I always want to ask guys who played in the Bay Area scene in the times that you guys did is what were your parents playing in the house? Were they musical people?
No, not at all. My mom, she had records going all the time, but that's about it. That was about it. When I was 8, I decided I wanted to play the guitar, and I started out with this girl getting lessons from her on a borrowed guitar, which, if I remember back, was a nice ass guitar. It was a Martin, and she taught me folk music. Like Hang Down Your Head, Tom Dooley, and My Darling Clementine and all that stuff. So I was like, my darling, and all that stuff. And then I got an electric guitar and graduated, played in a band. And I think Les talks about, I did this talent show in junior high, with another guitar player friend and a drummer. And Les always has the story. You've probably heard it before that he saw me play guitar and decided he wanted to play bass. Because
awesome. I gotta ask Les about that. That's awesome.
Yeah. So I couldn't figure if it was because he just went, that dude sucks, so I'm gonna play bass, or if just saw me play and just said, I could never do what that guy does because I'm not as good as him. I like to think that.
Yeah. So you chose a different instrument.
You said about me and drums. That's why he started playing drums. He saw me playing in Victims Family and went, I got to play drums, dude.
Yeah, I got to be like that dude.
So when it sounds like you were learning those folk songs. It was that sounds like what the teacher was just handing you. What were some of the songs or bands you started learning on your own, or who were your musical influences when you really started getting into it?
Just everything, mostly rock stuff, but I played, like in copy bands. We played weddings, and when I was in high school and I was in a band, we started doing originals, and we played a lot of Black Sabbath and Led Zeppelin and some Pink Floyd tunes, stuff like that in that band. And
who were some of your guitar heroes at that time? Like Uli John Roth or Michael Schenker? You know what I mean? It's like who were the dudes that really grabbed you?
I would say my biggest person I listened to and liked the most was Jimmy Page.
Yeah,
for a long time, and a lot of people were listening to Jimi Hendrix back in the day, emulating him. But I was more Jimmy Page and Black Sabbath and things like that. So, yeah.
And which incarnation of Pink Floyd was your favorite, Todd?
Which incarnation? Well, the one I'd listened to, the album that turned me on to Pink Floyd was Dark Side of the Moon. So David Gilmour, I was way into his guitar playing. I wasn't so much into the Schenker, Satriani kind of stuff. And, I was into punk in high school, but it was like new on the scene and nobody else in the goddamn school was into it. So I was.
And there wasn't much of it. There was Sex Pistols and Devo, right?
Yeah, very much.
Those are the first punk bands I ever heard when I was a little kid. So.
I mean, when I was about 20, I went and saw the Dicks. That was the first punk band I saw. And that was before they outlawed spikes.
Right,
and stuff.
right.
You're in the mosh, people are bleeding and shit.
Oh, jeez.
But that turned me on really to punk. But trying to find people back then to play it was not easy.
I missed the Dicks. I was a little too young for that. But I know Gary Floyd. When he was doing the Sister Double Happiness stuff.
Okay. I don't know who they were. I don't know.
He's a singer from the Dicks.
The big guy.
Yeah.
So you're influenced by these guys, and you're playing in some bands. We were talking earlier about Wraith. Were you playing in a bunch of other bands too? Because we talked to guys like Jay Lane, who was playing all over the place with a lot of people. Brain,
well, that's
basically
Jay.
Played with everybody all the time. I don't think he ever slept, but
Jay still plays with everybody all the time.
Brain as well did the same thing back then. He was 500 bands, just trying to make $20.
Well, I played with Brain and Sausage too for a week on tour.
Yep. We talked about that with Brain. It was funny.
Yeah, for sure. He'd stay in the back of the bus all the time. I don't know what he was doing back there, but
sounds like when he was in Primus. Wow, that's weird.
I'd knock on the door and dude, what the fuck are you doing back here? I'd
have to go get him. He'd be all in a ball in the back lounge. I had to go
what the hell?
Unravel him and get him to come in to do the gig. It's like, come on.
Yeah. It's like, what are you doing back here, man?
I just beat off 7 times, dude.
That could be it. I never caught him though, and I'm glad.
Right. Man.
So,
were you doing something similar though? Were you gigging around with a lot of bands, or were you concentrated on just a couple?
No, I was usually mostly a one-band guy. Yeah. So I played in Wraith in high school for a long time, and then I after that, I was jamming with a lot of different people, just kind of looking around, and then Mark Biederman, you guys, him, right?
Oh, come on now.
Somehow I talked to him, and he said, "Yeah, Les is playing some kind of disco music, and he needs a guitar player. Why don't you go over there and jam?" And Les knew me as this, kind of acid rock kind of guy, so he wasn't really interested. But we got together, and he had a little drum machine, and it just, and he's going, "Too many puppies," like that. So, and then he had this other song called "March of the Leprechauns" that he was playing, and I played, and I just remember him looking at what I was doing, and he's going, that's cool. I like that. And I go, okay, cool.
Okay, hold on. You got to confirm for me right now, because Les has talked about this, but this is when he was wearing leg warmers, right, on stage and stuff. Those sock leg warmer things that girls were wearing. He said he used
probably.
to
Yeah. Les had he was almost looked like a flasher back then. Like he had this trench coat, and he wore those boots. You remember the ones in the 80s that fold over, the leather boots that fold over?
Oh, yeah.
He'd walk around in that shit, and he looked like a flasher.
I love to always bring up the leg warmers because he told me about that one time and he regretted telling me because I bring it up now and again to poke at him. And I was wondering if you remember him wearing those silly things.
Yeah, Les did a lot of experimenting with his look and stuff on stage. But we started wearing underwear on our head at one point and, all kinds of stuff. So, because we were going up to Tahoe, I guess, and Les had this old ranchero, open back bed.
Yep.
And we were going up to Tahoe once with Cuevas, and I think Tim Wright was in the thing, and they were in the back, and it was freezing. They were in the open back, and Les and I were in the front. And for some reason, I had a pair of underwear there. I don't know why. I hope it was mine. I don't remember what the hell was. And I stuck it on my head, and Les looked over and started laughing. And I hope they were my underwear. Jesus, I hope I just didn't find them on the fucking floor. But and then after that, everybody started wearing underwear on their head for some reason. And at shows, Les was wearing underwear on his head and became kind of like a fad. I started a fad.
Right, yeah.
Wearing underwear on your head.
Man, dude, the first time I saw you guys was at that Santa Rosa gig with No Means No and the Beatniks and Victims Family. Do you remember that? Curveball was the drummer. He had the ice bell for the ride cymbal, I remember. And I met Lefkowitz for the first time that night. That would have been like 1987, I think.
That was late in my Primus career.
Yeah, it was before Jay was in the band. Jay came in the next time I saw you guys, which would have been a few months.
Oh, he did?
So it was kind of the end of Curveball.
End of Curveball, beginning of Jay, and end of Jay.
The beginning of Jay was the end of Jay.
Jay was there for about 2 days, and he played about 40 gigs.
Yeah.
Right.
So and
ripped it.
Yeah. Well, I loved the way Jay played back then, but it was something for me to get used to because Les, when he gets on stage, just kind of plays. And a lot of times you're supposed to fit your part in or follow him wherever he's going.
Right.
And Jay does that too on his drums. He's just, so he and Les were like, doing all this shit. And I was supposed to go, ee-oo, ee-oo, ee-oo. So I really couldn't follow them. I just had to stick my part somewhere in wherever they were doing, because when Jay came in, we started jamming more,
Because it was effective. But by the time Jay got in there, because I, heard some of the Primus with Curveball back then, saw you guys that one gig, and then it was like, hey, yeah, this band Primus is playing again. And we went to the Katati Cabaret. I think you guys were opening
I remember that.
Chili Peppers, maybe.
Chili Peppers, when they had the Blackbird McKnight.
Yeah, Blackbird McKnight and DJ Peligro from Dead Kennedys was playing drums.
Okay, yeah. I remember that. I do.
And I got there really early because I knew it was going to be packed. And I made sure I got in and, see you guys. And I was like, whoa, who's this new drummer? And I looked over at you. I didn't even really know what I had seen that last time with Curveball. It was like, okay, that band, then what's next, Yeah. But I remember you had the spiky guitar strap.
Somebody stole it.
It was like kind of metalhead looking stuff. And you had hair was all on your face and you were like chunking stuff out. I was like, whoa, this is fucking cool.
Yeah, Libby made that strap for me. Remember David Libby?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, and then somebody stole it. But...
bummer.
I know, bummer, huh? Yeah, I remember, first time I remember you was, remember that place we practiced down in Emeryville?
Oh, yeah.
Well, you drove up in this van. Just, I don't know, yellow or gold or white or whatever it was. I was like, who's this dude?
I can't remember.
You were gonna haul our equipment. Yep. Somehow Les or somebody hooked up with you, and we needed some way to get somewhere, and you drove up in this van. I don't remember you saying a damn word the whole night. Something was going on with you.
That's funny. I think the first gig I did with you guys was in November, or it was sometime in 1988.
Was it that one?
Jay was the new drummer, and Jay didn't have any drums or any cymbals or any sticks.
he showed up late. I remember that show. It was like up north somewhere.
It was at Berkeley Square. Was the first gig I did.
Oh, okay.
I never had a van back then. You're talking about somebody else.
I'll trust you, man. I don't remember that shit.
It's all good.
Les and I met, and I'll go back to this. Les and I met, we started playing together, and he was doing the drum machine, and we met, we didn't meet him. Les knew Vincent. I don't know if he's ever talked about Vincent, the drummer that played with us first. He's a guy, he was from a place called Montera, a rough place, rough dude. So he'd tell these Marine stories about how if you're out there and you run out of food, you eat your other guy's shit. Don't eat your own shit. You can eat their shit to survive and drink their pee.
Jeez.
And so he's playing drums and doing all this stuff. And so we decided to go into a studio, and Starlight Studio. Remember Starlight? You remember Starlight?
I've heard of it. I was too young. I wasn't into it yet.
So we did a bunch of like 6 or 7 songs with him. That was the first place. And,
Frankie, do you have that?
No, I don't have that.
no,
That's the
I'm the only one that has that.
Uh-oh, don't tell Frankie that.
Yep.
He'll offer you a lot of money for it.
I have never heard it. I haven't heard it. It's on 2-inch reels that I still have up in my attic. So, in a box up there.
And that was Vince Parker, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
Vince Parker. Yeah.
Do you recall any of the songs in that reel, Todd?
I know there was Too Many Puppies and probably March of the Leprechauns and
What a name.
probably a lot of the early I couldn't tell you really.
Yeah.
Maybe Chattering Song and
Prelude to
like
Fear
that.
could have been there too.
Probably Prelude to Fear. Yeah.
So what is this March of the Leprechauns thing? What was the song about?
It was just Les kind of doing a leprechaun thing. And I don't remember his part. My part was just harmonious going ding, 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 and that was it.
You guys wearing leotards and stuff? Green leotards when you did that song?
Yeah, I love my green leotards. I did wear leotards at a couple shows once, and I didn't have underwear on, and there was this girl that seemed to like that. So
You got that reel, Todd, but you've never transferred the songs to the digital or anything?
no, I that's been packed up there since the day I put it in there. It's up there.
Hey, do you see all the furniture that's around Frankie? He's going to sell all that tomorrow.
Yeah, that's right.
Pay you to transfer that.
Yeah, make me an offer.
Hear it.
Make me an offer. It's just sitting up there, man.
That's funny. There was another one you mentioned in the book, like Old Man in a Pinstripe Suit or something like that too.
Oh yeah. He's an old man. That was one of the songs.
Oh my
Yeah,
gosh.
he's the old man in the pinstripe suit. That's right. I don't even remember how that song goes. He's the old man in the pinstripe suit.
That's awesome.
One time Les came to me when we were starting out and playing some shows. He's like, dude, should we get a singer? He goes, I can't sing. And I'm like, dude, man, you're like a cartoon character. I said, you got this graphic voice. I think it's cool. It fits the music.
Man, he really fluctuated through the highs and lows back in that old stuff, like
It was really,
he turned it into more of his narrative that he does best now. But back in those old ones, he's like, I was like, whoa.
I got this old recording from that when Peter Libby was the drummer,
right?
From Live Oak Studios, where we did things like Chattering Song and Here's to the Man, like some versions of those things. And yeah, man, he's all over the place.
I love it, man. I was telling these guys I've never seen him sing a track at recording. I've done whatever, almost 10 records with the dude over the years with all different projects and Primus.
Yeah.
Every time I get up there and he's got the mic out, he just shut down. Like, hey, moving on to the next thing. I'm like, come on, man, let me hear you do some vocals. He's like, nope.
Yeah.
No, he won't let anybody be around him anymore when he sings. So,
Gosh,
Really?
sakes.
Oh,
Yeah.
wonder why.
You've got quite a treasure trove there. Well, yeah. So, but it's interesting because as it seems like you guys were really developing quickly as musicians, and it sounds like this was your first kind of heavy gigging band in the scene. Correct me if I'm wrong there, but did you feel like you were really getting your stuff together and get your chops at that point, or do you feel like you already had them out of the gate? If that makes sense.
I imagine I had a lot of them, but then as you progress, like anything else, you pick up stuff. And Les had been playing a lot, before with
Tommy Crank Band and stuff.
Tommy Crank Band,
Right.
Yeah. And I went and saw him a couple times in that band when we were hanging out. And
Right on.
he would travel, and he had told me all these stories about all that kind of stuff. And so he was already a really good performer,
I'm interested to know, Todd, where the influences came for some of that zany, amazing guitar playing that you kind of were in once you got with Les. I mean, I know that his character and his bass playing was very, very eccentrically unique, but your playing was as eccentrically unique that twisted around through it,
yeah.
Obviously I didn't really get a grasp on it until that Sausage demo came out, but I've heard some of the older stuff, I used to quiz you about the old original version of Is It Luck? And you said you couldn't remember what you played, but I have a tape. Frankie, that live tape.
Yeah, I got
it's
it.
really slow with curveball, but his guitar part is like Mondo Bizarro,
There's a a recording of that with Jay that was on that Sausage, what they call now the Sausage Primus tape, right? There's
No.
a version. There isn't.
The demo
Okay.
tape, right? That demo cassette.
Yeah.
I've only heard the 5 songs. I've never.
Oh, it's
heard
not
any
on there?
outtakes.
Okay.
No, that's on Sucking Songs, the white tape with the baby on the cover. That has
Yeah.
Is It Luck, Sergeant Baker, 11, Tommy
Yeah,
the Cat.
Yeah, Is It Luck's on that, right?
So what I'm asking,
Yeah.
Todd, we've never really talked about this, me and you together, but this is the perfect platform. Like, how do you come up with something like on like Pudding Time, diddly-boo, biddly-boo, biddly-boo, like all that weird, goofy stuff? It's like you're like telling me you came up with Jimmy Page was your hero, and you're not playing Jimmy Page on any of that sausage demo.
Well,
It's like,
I mean, I think a lot of my style came from what I was studying most of the time, and I always put theories to it. And
Right.
I think basically at that time, what I was doing was I was going to school and learning, Bach theory, and I was also playing in the country. At the time I was playing, like figuring out how to mingle the two together. And so I'd always experiment on the guitar with that kind of stuff. And so a lot of times I would start writing songs and doing all this stuff. And then Les would bring a part in and I'd go, oh, that shit I'm doing right there will fit to that song.
right.
So like something like Is It Luck? I remember I was learning things like, diminished and augmented patterns and chords at the time. I mean, all that early stuff was mostly diminished and augmented, that, right? It's all freaked out. And so I think it kind of, not a lot of people were doing that at the time. So it just kind of was different.
Yeah. I mean, it was so extremely unique that it grabbed you by the nuts and pulled you in. There was nothing you could do to go, this is fucking crazy. What is this?
Well, I was
How are these guys coming up with this shit,
I was kind of fortunate enough to have somebody like Les, because the thing Les and I had in common is we were experimenters, and we didn't we weren't that afraid. We were looking for something different, but Les was really good at like groove. I wasn't that much. I was like, he was in his.
But that's what was the cool push and pull of it back then,
Yeah.
Him and Jay were just like grooving and funky slap bass, and you were just like field, with a underwear on your head coming in, it was crazy.
Yeah. I mean, they're great. They're really great rhythm section together.
Yeah. I've said it many of these episodes that Jay Lane's kick drum foot is cosmically connected to Les's right thumb when they play.
Yeah.
And if you listen to, like, Frankie plays us versions of songs with all 3 of the drummers in Primus time, and Jay just plays straight through, Jay plays like every, and Jay's foot goes, and then Tim goes, cut, and Brent goes,
Jay and I, he was from San Francisco. I was from Panol, so we were from Mars and Pluto. Our personalities, like we would just stare at each other and, even on the sausage tour, even though we would laugh at what each other was saying because we didn't understand where each other were coming from hardly ever. I still don't get that dude, but I love the guy. Yeah. So, Jay quit, before I did. He quit because he wanted to go do Freakies, right?
Yep.
And
well, Les gave him the ultimatum, like, you're fucking around over here. Either commit to this or commit to that.
Jay doesn't do good with ultimatums. So you give Jay an ultimatum, he's like, okay, bye, dude. So
that's what happened,
So Les and I were looking for another drummer, and I had my kid by then. We had just got done doing a bunch of shows with Jay, and I was working, trying to, and I was spent, dude. I was tired. I could barely do it. But we were trying out drummers, and we tried out about 15 drummers. Back then it was BAM magazine. You take down the little drummer. And Herb came in, Tim came in, and he started playing, and I was just like, I fucking like this dude. And Les by then he'd picked all the drummers before that, and he didn't know. He said, I don't know, if you like him, we'll put him in there. And I go, yeah, dude, that's the one. Let's take that dude. Yeah. And so after that, I was so tired I couldn't see anymore, and I just go, dude, I need some time off. And Les goes, dude, I don't know if I want to. Like, okay, I gotta quit. He gave me an ultimatum too, I guess.
Yeah. And I said, they didn't try out any guitar players. He just said, Larry, you're in. Let's go. Because they had just done that Blind Illusion tour in the van. Yeah. They were buddies at that moment.
Oh, yeah. That's right. Yeah.
With Biederman.
And I was home with my kid the whole time going, what the fuck? So So I took a hike and I left, and Les says I'm gonna get Larry to do the about a week went by, a week and a half went by, and Les goes, he called me up and said, "Hey dude, can we use the parts of your guitar parts and stuff?" And I was like, okay, just put my name, just make sure I get paid, all that crap that happens down the road.
Yeah.
And then I got a call about 3 days later, and he goes, and this is me stroking myself. He goes, dude, can you show Larry how to play those parts?
Larry's confessed that to us, dude. He's admitted that over the years, of course.
Okay.
Always. Yeah.
And I go, dude, all right. So he comes over and we sit down and I show him the part. I think he was kind of embarrassed in a way. I think it was one of those things, but
dude, it's some unique stuff, man. That's not just
you're right.
The guitar store and buy the book and learn it, dude. It's some unique stuff.
Yeah, I was offlandish with that shit. It's hard to pick it up and learn it, and it's just like going into a studio and showing two guys a song, and you think it's easy because you've been playing it for 2 years,
right?
And you show it to them, and they're like going, "Huh?
Yeah, I thought it was 4 chords. How you wait? What?
Yeah, that's a 4, 5, 7, and you drop into a 2 beat, and and I'm just sitting there playing it over and over again. So,
Todd, can we go back a little to talk about the first demo tape?
Sure.
Yeah, so I'm really curious about this recording. So Sucking Songs has a slow version of Tommy the Cat. It's got Sgt. Baker. It's got Temporary Face and They, which later become 11. So prior to 2019, we had never seen one of these tapes around. And
which tape?
The Sucking Songs demo. It's white. It's white and it's got a baby on the cover. It's you, Les, and Peter Levy, right, Josh?
Is that the one with Peter Levy?
Yeah, that's the one that I called you about when these guys were trying to buy it. Remember?
Yeah,
I was trying to verify that it was legit.
Oh yeah,
it's a couple years ago.
Yeah. So we did a Kickstarter and we got the tape. We secured the tape. We transferred the songs to digital, and as an artifact itself, I think it must be one of the rarest Primus items out there. And I'm wondering if you got one as well.
Are you sure that's the one? Yeah, it is in the attic, actually. Is that the? Are you sure that's the one with Peter Libby, or is that with Tim Curveball?
Todd Huth, Les Claypool, and Tim Wright.
Tim Wright. Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah. Everything was a little slower and kind of.
Yeah. Curveball was pretty simplistic and just played the beat.
Yeah. I mean, live, when it sped up, it was perfect. It was always perfect with him. I have a tape actually from the Omni, a live show with Primus with Curveball. It's like an hour show or something like that, and it's actually really good. I was listening to it.
Right on.
It was really good. So I was going through that stuff about last year, just seeing what I had up there. But
nice.
So the backstory that I have, Todd, is that Les made this to hand them out to radio stations to try to get Primus on the air. Do you have any recollection about what Les was trying to achieve with these tapes?
Get famous, I guess.
And be a musician. That's what you said, Frankie. Get on the air, man.
Be on the musician. Yeah. Les and I took a trip once out to, what the hell was that station? K Hits or something like that. And he and I hung out there for a night. And
KUSF, maybe?
No, it was Live 105. That's what it was.
Oh, right. Where CG was working.
Was he there? No, I don't think he was there. It was Big Rick Stewart.
Oh, Big Rick Stewart. Okay, CG worked for Live 105 for a while.
Yeah, Big Rick Stewart, and we hung out with him in the studio, and he played one of our. I don't think he liked us. Really, he just kind of listened to shit. And I like Jane's Addiction.
Yeah.
So, but yeah. Okay, I went blank.
I'm really into that idea that you were studying formally a lot of this musical theory, and then putting it into practice, especially. Later on, it sounds like for sure with Porch, because you're, of course, Soya pointed it out, you're well known for your dissonant approach, but also these odd or unconventional time signatures that you use, and especially in the Porch material, it's great because when I play a little guitar, and I remember there's these exercises where you play your 1, 6, 2, 5, and you play your bass chords, and then you start putting in sevenths and minor nines and whatever, right, to start getting different intonations. It sounds like you were doing that in a more formal setting and to a more accomplished degree than me plunking around going, I forget how that fingering works. But you really made this this sound, and it sounds like it was by design. So was it kind of ready made for Porch when you started putting that together? Was that just in your head?
I mean, talk about time signatures. I had never really got into time signatures and rhythms, more or less because most things that I ever dealt with were 4/4 time, like rock and things like that. And I naturally hear things in 3s, 5s, 7s, that kind of thing. So, and at one point I was listening to a lot of old American Indian music, which is it's just a beat, basically. And so everything I would write, I wouldn't count. I would just write stuff. And then later on, I would figure out the count, after either I'd recorded or made sure that I didn't, change it in the process. So,
okay.
Most of that, the time signature stuff, which is one thing that when Les and I were playing together, he'd kind of look at me and go, because he was rhythmic. That dude was rhythmic and I wasn't, so, and I got better later on as I played with more rhythmic drummers, like, remember Dave Air?
Of course. Yep.
Yeah.
Late
like
Dave
that.
Air. Yep.
Yeah. And then I started, because Dave in Porch would take my songs basically and make them powerful. That dude knew how to do that. Right. And he would make it so that a song in 5 was smooth, just smooth over.
Because he understood it. He wasn't just playing a part. He understood what the groove was. And
he'd go home and figure all that stuff out and bring it in. And he was real simple, but he had this like heavy foot and uptake.
His arms were about 6 feet long, and he played 2 feet long sticks too.
Yeah, and he was tall and lanky, and he'd slunch down and he'd hit that friggin' snare like a man, And I mean, Jay can do it too, man. That dude is really good at it. Like some of the songs that he's recorded with me that are up on Spotify and iTunes or wherever the hell they are. He just came right in because Jay and I went into High Street Studios, and I had 3 songs. This was about 5 years ago. And I hadn't played with Jay in a while, and we went in there, and one of the songs was in 7, and the other one was in 4, and one was in 5 and 4, and it switched around, and we recorded those 3 songs, and he had never played them before,
Wow. Right, and he just got through it. Yeah,
he just straight through it, man, with ease, and wow, dude. Okay.
Yeah. So it sounds like when you're writing your parts, you're not thinking about other instrumentation other than you're right. You've got your guitar part, and hopefully the drummer can figure it out. Is that kind of what's happening there?
Yeah. I mean, I'll write a part, and I hear how I want it to feel, like how I want it to move me, and I'll just bring it in and just, everybody write what you want to write. After that, I'll say, well, I was looking more for this, because my theory has always been, if they start with a fresh plate and they do what they do, and then I come in and say, well, I like what you're doing, but can you, then basically they have 2 ideas to work with. Their original idea, but I don't want to change what they're doing, because usually what people's first initial, the way they do stuff, I think is the best, almost the best.
Right.
If you can redo it, copy it, then your shit's together.
I mean, that's the basis of what Victims Family always was,
Us
3 coming in. I mean, for the most part, what do you, here's a part. And then I would play some silly beat of whatever came to my head. And they'd be like, okay, that's cool. Whatever. It's like, all right, cool. It's not like that anymore. Damn it. Yeah. But
you guys know, Tim and I went on tour with each other, Porch and Victims Family. We went for 2 weeks.
Oh, 2 weeks up and down the West Coast. Yeah.
Yeah. Up and down the West Coast. Yeah.
All the way to Seattle.
What time was that?
And LA. Yeah.
Yeah.
Was that around the album 94?
Yeah, that was the first.
Yeah, that would have been 94ish. Yeah.
Okay.
First Porch record. Yeah.
Oh, that's excellent.
Record. Was that 94?
I think so. Well, Dave was still alive, so.
Yeah.
I don't remember when he passed, but I remember that was your first incarnation of Porch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then Mike came in and took over. Mike was a totally different kind of drummer.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, who was the bass player on that? Was a buddy of the black-haired dude.
The bass player?
Yeah.
Before Chris?
Yeah. Before Chris.
Chris recorded on that first record. Yeah, that was him.
He didn't do that tour that we did together with Victims Family. Was
Chris didn't?
No, I can't remember the dude's name. He's good buddies with Fussy.
Oh, Jim.
Yes, Jim. Yes, he did that run with us for 2 weeks. Yeah.
That
was awesome.
Jim's a great guy, but it didn't work, man. It didn't work.
He didn't fit musically, but he was super fun to have out there.
Yeah. He and he was in Rave.
Oh,
Yeah, he was bass player in Wraith in high school.
You guys checking this stuff? Are you taking notes on the connections that are going on here?
Pens right here.
There's no Wraith out there in the stratosphere. None of it's been digitized. It's buried in the archives.
It's all up
Frankie's going to sell a couch. He's going to get that stuff digitized, dude.
Yeah. And then we were playing with Palmer before that. Remember Jeff Palmer? He was in Sister Double Happiness, and
that's right.
I can't remember what other band he was in and stuff like that.
Well, that was a great moment that Porch came out, because it was such a departure from what everybody was expecting you to do.
Yeah.
And you're like, nope, here's what we're doing. We're doing
Curious how that came about. I am definitely curious how that came about in the sense of going to these Primus websites going like, what's this Porch, So it just seems like it came out of nowhere for a kid in Iowa going, oh, here's Todd Huth 5 years later with this album. So I'm curious how that all came together.
Just I had music. I was looking for, and I don't remember how Palmer and I hooked up. I think Shannon Bell hooked us up. I said, yeah, I'm looking for some people to do some music, and she turned me on to Jeff, and Jeff was good, man. He was a good bass player. Yeah. And then Jeff knew Dave, so we got together and started playing, and it worked pretty good. We did a lot of good shows too, man. We did like Jesus Lizard and John Spencer's Blues Band and all that stuff. Wow. We were getting gigs.
Victim Family. Oh shit, that's huge, man.
I think we do a show with you with Palmer and
I think so. We did a bunch of different versions of Porch open the Victims Family shows for sure. We were always calling you up, dude. What are you talking about?
Oh, you were? Yeah. I have no memory. I had kids, remember?
Yeah, I didn't yet. I was still just in diapers playing shows.
You were a kid.
You were at home changing diapers with underwear on your head.
Yeah.
That's where you keep your spares sometime.
There's that Tim Sawyer guy.
So it came together. You're looking for people, and you have the music. And I was curious about this because you said the count comes later, because I was sitting here going back through the records, and I was listening to particularly the track Your Hair, and I'm counting it out, and I'm going, is this a 9/2? I don't know. I'm trying to count it out, but it's really interesting that you have your line or your guitar part, and Dave's coming in and playing these great lines, and then Chris is recording, and it really comes together. And in '94 when that record came out, that was the wave. You guys had a fantastic sound at that time. It seemed like it really had that potential to take off with what was going on out there in the mainstream even. So I mean, how'd that record do? I mean, I wasn't paying attention, of course. I was a kid.
I don't know how it did.
That's cardboard, dude.
It totally got separated from us, and we never found out how it did or how many we sold or who owns it and all that kind of stuff. We had Lefkowitz and Pronsong managing it, but we never got any readouts, and I don't know what happened to that stuff, man.
Yeah, that was before SoundScan and all that stuff was going on.
Yeah, that was
just before.
You had to trust people.
Yeah. Okay. It definitely got you on the road, right?
It did. Yeah, it did. Yeah, okay. And we were out on the road and did some touring and all that good stuff. And I can kind of go over that Your Hair for you a little bit.
Sure, please.
I would bring in a line usually, and Dave would start messing around. And Chris, being Chris, he always heard everything I did backwards. His bass part would kind of coincide with mine, but it'd be switched, and that's what made it, because I think that song's in 7. And
7, okay.
So that's why it would even sound weirder when Chris would play with me, because he always heard one in a different place.
Oh, wow.
That's awesome. That's what makes the uniqueness of it, of course.
Yeah.
It's like I never knew what 6/8 or 7/8 was as I played Victims Family songs until years and years and years later, decades later.
I would just see the audience get frustrated more than anything. Staring at us from the abyss going, what the fuck are these guys doing?
Yeah. Well, I mean, like what Josh was saying, that grunge thing was kind of like took over at that moment. And your parts on the early Porch just were like taking dark to the darkest of the darker corner of what you could do with a guitar.
A lot of friends were surprised at how angry I was. I never realized you were so angry. I go, oh, is that what that is?
You took that key demonic minor to a whole new level back then.
Demonic minor.
Were you messing with were you messing with alternate tunings at all? Or are you mostly in standard for these?
No, not really.
Wow.
No, not really. Some things did I do? No, not on Porch. I think all that stuff is just standard tuning.
That's even more impressive because it sounds, so hard to pick out by ear what's going on with those too. So I mean that's part of the fun for me, and I can totally see an audience that's looking for the 2 and the 4 so they can bounce around, getting frustrated.
Todd wasn't getting on that. No way. You're not getting the bounce around 4. You're getting some minor over in the corner stuff.
Some people you had to dance to Porch. You had to be really drunk. I'd see people out there, doing this, and then we'd do the turnaround. They'd go, and they start doing it again, and then go like this, But the real drunk people,
woo!
they were.
Did you layer guitar parts on a lot of that stuff? Like, or was it all like one part like doubled, or I mean, was there different
I don't remember.
Crossing stuff that made it so bizarrely dark? It was awesome. What's the first Porch record called?
Not a lot. Just Porch. Yep. It was just Porch.
Just called Porch. Yeah, I think I have that single with Elmo's art on the front too. The 45.
Oh, you do? That's with Palmer, isn't it?
Okay.
Yeah, that's with Palmer.
Way
different versions. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Tim, I don't remember. I think there was some parts where I doubled things, but I wanted it to be, as close to playing on stage,
right,
as possible.
That's what I'm saying. You just double parts to make them fatter for the recording,
make them fatter. Yeah.
So 3 different guitar parts, and you got one dude up there that can only pick and choose one of them.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fuck that. I like 3-piece bands because less people, less problems.
That's right.
Yeah, and you have a lot of space to play with 3, and your guitar certainly takes up a lot of that space, and it just sounds. You don't have to go into the technical side of it, but the sound you get with your guitar is just fantastic. It's got this dark heaviness that Soya was alluding to, but it also has this jangliness in the upper registers, and I guess I don't have the language for it, but
that's probably just because it's a telly,
Is that it?
Yeah.
And the amp I used for a long time is the Mark IIc Plus. It's the same amp that Kurt Cobain had.
Oh, okay.
And it's just a fucking awesome amp.
Yeah. What was the amp you played on New Year's that year?
It was. I brought the Mark IIc.
It was the same amp that you had back in the day. Yeah, you still have that one. That's cool. With the nuts and bolts that you hold it together with, the plywood case.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's right. That's my old tour case for that. Man.
I remember it well, dude. Come on.
I don't take that thing out all the time, but I took it out.
I had to help that thing up and down the ramp at the Omni to get it into that little silver van many times.
Yeah, about ready to fall out every time.
There was a nut and a bolt to hold it together.
Yeah, that's what. And a wire. It worked, man.
Sorry, I digress. Continue.
Wow. Well, I guess that explains why at that sausage show it sounded like you had the exact tone you had on the record. It was pretty incredible.
Yeah.
When you guys
I used a different guitar. I used a Jazz Master.
Okay.
The thing about that, here's a lot of my tone was like I had a different tone with when I went into Primus with Les, and Les was into clean. He didn't like distortion at all. You know, he was always like, "Man, dude, take out some of that distortion," because he'd been playing in metal bands, and and he heard something totally different. And I was playing. What the hell was I playing? I was playing like a Les Paul.
Yeah.
Through the boogie, and it was. I wasn't playing crunch, but it was a lot more distorted and rock than so I started playing the telly through that. And at first I was playing clean, but I thought, dude, I can't play clean. Fuck that. So I started adding little bits of distortion every week when we'd go into rehearsal, just so he just wouldn't notice, And so I got it to the sweet spot, found that sweet spot with the telly, but the telly, man, trying to get the telly with the breakthrough and that kind of music. And so you can hear it. It was really tough. It was really tough.
Look at the Minutemen. I mean, D. Boone playing a telly with his amp on bass 0, treble 10.
Yeah, that's pretty much the only way you can get a telly to cut through.
Sound,
So I farted around with that friggin' thing for years and finally got that tone. But then I used the Jazz Master on New Year's, and it's simple. It was simple. So that's the one I use live now.
It was all in the Guitar Tech that night. That's why.
Yeah, it was. Were you my guitar tech?
No, your son was.
Oh, he was. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, you're right then.
I was Jay's tech.
Yeah.
I was stage manager in Jay's tech. And
that's why the drums fell apart and
drank beer with my wife the whole time.
There you go.
That was a fun night, man.
That was a great night, dude.
That was a good night.
Me and Nancy had a great time hanging out with you and Frisia, I have to say, dude. That was so fun.
Yeah. We had a good time. Yoko showed up. Did you remember my dad showing up and the guy in the suit?
I do, yes.
The guy that looks older than me in a suit?
That's the first time I ever met your dad, actually.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. That guy's not shy, man. He goes into that room and everybody's passing around weed and he goes, "Hey, is that weed?" And he smokes some weed and he smokes a couple hits like 1970s hits. And all of a sudden he comes walking out and he looks at me and he goes, "That weed's strong." He goes, "I'm really high." And I'm like, "Yeah, no shit." He's in that room trying to take over, trying to be the life of the party.
Right. I remember, dude. That was fun, dude. We had a good time that night.
Yeah. So did he. So did he. I'm sorry, man. We digress.
That's great. How old's your dad at that time?
He was 79.
Oh, man. And he's going to work the room at 79. That's excellent.
He was in the room working the room. Yeah. Trying to get the attention of all the younger ladies. So,
hey, good on him. Right on.
Yeah. He's a sport.
Well, so right around the time of that Porch record, 94, Sausage happens. And you guys make that record. And it's so interesting that essentially, in my little Primus timeline of my teenage years, Todd goes away in 89, and then there's these two records in 94. So you have these two things going on at once, essentially. In my recollection, and of course you can help us, it sounds like Les and Jay laid down those tracks and brought it to you for the Sausage record. Is that right?
I think we did a lot of it different. I think most of the songs were done that way now that you mention it.
Okay.
Yeah. A lot of those songs were songs that Les and I did together for a while.
Right.
I think we even did some of those with Peter and
yep.
And so we went into Les's studio when he lived here in Berkeley.
Yeah.
And I do believe that was the way it was. And then I wrote stuff over it. And there was a couple times we were all in the same room at the same time doing stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah. That's
Other
correct.
than that last jam on the record, I think almost every one of those tunes appears on old tapes that have surfaced over the years. Is that right, Frankie?
Yeah, except for the last one.
Yeah.
Okay.
That was a jam just for that record.
Yeah.
Pretty much. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think we ever played that live.
Yeah, so that makes me curious, Todd, because there's a recording from 1987, and there's just like this really short clip of you guys doing Riddles Are Abound Tonight, but not as Sausage. It was actually as Primus. Mm-hmm. So I was wondering if you have any recollection of doing that song before the Riddles album.
Yeah, we did that with Peter Libby. I got a recording of that I was just listening to the other day, actually. Other day, a while back, probably last year, should say the other day. But that song was around for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
That also reminds me of this really great interview that you did in 2019 in preparation for the New Year's Eve. And you were kind enough to share this really mind-blowing demo recording of Welcome to This World.
The interview there in San Francisco. I don't know.
Yeah, that one.
Place, yeah.
I mean, where did that come from? I mean, what tape or, what session does that belong to? And do you have any recollection about other tracks?
Yeah, that's from that Live Oak recording with Peter Libby.
Live Oak?
Well, that was the studio we did it in. Okay. So we just called it never came out. It's wait a minute, did I digitize? I did. I digitized that. So I have that somewhere. Do you remember what tracks you did besides Welcome? Riddles, and I believe Here's to the Man was on there.
Oh wow.
Wow.
Yeah, I'd have to look.
Prelude. Do you think Prelude could also be in there?
I think so. Yeah.
Wow.
And I think Too Many Puppies was on it too.
Wow. So you guys recorded those tracks, but that never came out as an actual tape.
No. I don't know why that got buried. I don't know why we never released that. I think because we got done with that, and then Peter, we split with Peter, and so it just kind of got shoved away. And I was the one holding on to all the tapes and everything. I was that guy.
And you still are
archivist.
I'm still got them. Yeah.
So other than Welcome to This World, do you have any plan to release the rest of the songs?
To Frankie's custody?
I don't want to get sued. Have the gag knocking at my door going,
You've been served.
I guess I could. I mean, just put them out there in the
because that recording of Welcome is absolutely incredible. I mean, the way that you play it, Todd, it makes it a completely different song than what we had on Pork Soda many years later on. They are like two completely different songs, and both are amazing in their own right. But the version that you did is just incredible, and I think it would be so fascinating to be able to hear to those other songs. I mean, Primus doing Real Sarabam Tonight. I mean, that must be something else.
Well, maybe I'll send you the record and you can do something with it.
Oh, that would be incredible. Yes.
I'm digitally inept, so I'm surprised I got that transferred. I was really happy when it turned out.
Yeah. Oh, it sounds great.
Shit, and, it worked. My tape player went into that machine and it came out over there.
Right. Huh?
Yeah.
So.
I will say, touch on that, Frankie. When Primus got to that point of recording Pork Soda, me thought I was old school. Obviously, there's all this stuff had gone on. I knew about I had the Riddles Are Abound record and all that. And I was like, okay, now they're at this Pork Soda moment. Les is out of old songs. This is going to be Les, Lur, and Tim. He's, his quiver of bringing up the old stuff is done and depleted.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so, of course, the record opens up with Mud, and then it goes into Welcome to This World. And I was like, whoa,
yeah.
Lur's done it. He kind of sounds like he's bringing Todd and his own thing in at the same time. And then I didn't find out till years later that it was like, oh, there was still some more stuff in the quiver.
Well, I think on Welcome to This World, that version Les did the bass part and the guitar part on his bass, right?
I think Lur plays along with them.
Yeah, they emulate each other.
Okay, so Lur kind of did a version of his own version of kind of what you did. I see.
Oh, okay.
But I was like, I thought for sure that was a Lur finally busting out and getting his own thing going, but it hadn't happened yet. That was still old stuff in the bag.
Oh, that's
Todd, I'm very curious about this, because it's kind of a really difficult period to cover because of the lack of information and records. And I mean, you're the best person to ask. So just to get the record straight, we have the sausage tape. We have the Live Oak recordings that you just mentioned. We have the Sucking Songs tape. We have another session that you mentioned where they did Shattering Song. And we have those reels that you have in storage that contain March with the Leprechauns and Too Many Puppies. So that's about 5 different recordings with demos. Is that correct?
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Is that what it is? I mean, the Live Oak recordings, I don't think you have that.
We just have Welcome to This World. That's all we have. Yeah,
I think you might have the stuff we did with Tim right on that, the one you were talking about before.
Yeah. I mean, we have Sausage, we have Sucking Songs, and we have one song from Live Oak, but we don't have any of the rest. The rest is a mystery.
Okay, so I'm the man, huh?
Yeah, you're the man.
Your attic is the man, dude.
Yeah.
I could feel like you going. You want to ask the question? Can I have them?
No.
Can I have? Give me those, will you?
You can feel where it's leading up to.
Yeah, I could feel.
This is where your car payment.
We'll wait. Can you go get them and show us?
Yeah. There's car payments that will get taken care of, Todd.
There you go.
For how long?
Yeah, right. That's what I'm saying. These guys paid a mint for that demo tape that they all.
Yeah. I always wonder if Les knew that I kept all that shit.
I don't know. Me and Les have never talked about that.
Yeah.
The biggest burning issue is that the Matt Weininger sausage demo tape 1/4-inch reels from that.
Yeah.
Todd, I'm very curious about something. Now that Tim mentioned the sausage demo that has Harold of the Rocks in it. So you mentioned Pink Floyd a while ago, and every time that I hear the solo in Harold of the Rocks, I think of David Gilmour. Is that just in my head, or was that like some subconscious influence that you had for that guitar solo?
Well, the pattern I'm using, David Gilmour, I don't think he ever used that pattern, but he was such an influence on my playing from the beginning that I wouldn't doubt that, you're hearing a lot.
Yeah, there are some traces of him there, right?
That sounds more Jimmy Page to me on that whole section. I mean, it's one of the greatest guitar solos ever recorded.
Yeah.
Well,
totally.
Thank you. God, damn, dude.
Oh, dude, it rips.
I'm not kidding. That's amazing. That's an amazing moment.
Tim
dude.
Soya says that I recorded one of the most amazing guitar solos ever recorded. That's
I'm not the only one to say that, dude. So, but that sounds very Jimmy Page to me.
I say it too to
the
myself
blues jam
all the time.
Yeah, I know you do.
Looking in the mirror.
But that's more of a Page bluesy solo than it is a Gilmour trip out blues solo.
I don't know. It it makes me think of Gilmore. It makes you think of Page. I mean,
I
that's
could
the
see-
wonderful thing about the solo.
I could see why it's a little both. I mean, both of those guys I listen to all the fucking time.
Yeah.
So I can imagine every solo that I've ever done has some influence from those two guys.
I think that over the times of Victim's Family in the van, traveling around the States, sucking shit, sleeping on floors, that song with that particular moment we played for more people than any other jam or tape or CD that we had that people didn't know what was going on, you know?
Oh, when you mean
That we played the Herald of the Rocks guitar solo.
pre-show stuff?
No, I'm saying like staying at people's houses or you're in the van, you're like, dude, you have to hear this, dude. It was that solo was the most played moment of that whole time.
That's stuff with Jay. Yeah.
That's the
We
one,
would
yeah.
play that for people go, skip the song, you got to hear this solo.
Yeah.
I'm saying that was the most played part.
That's a good tape, man. I
Yeah.
listen to that stuff every once in a while. Just it pops up somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll listen to it and I'll go, fuck, that's really good.
I play that shit for these kids that work for Primus now, you know, that heard Primus during Pork Soda was the first time they ever heard Primus. And I go, all right,
Yeah.
go in the back lounge of the bus, bro. Have some beers after
Yeah.
we're done. And I go, listen to this. It's like, oh, whoa, what's that?
That sounds weird.
Yeah, that's crazy.
We-
What I
I'm
always
not saying that it's better than what Primus is. It's just two completely different moments in the
Yeah, it is,
timeline, you know?
yeah.
I mean, you know, Herb was definitely more of a swishy rock drummer.
Yeah.
You know, he had that boom, you know, bring down the
Yep.
house kind of thing, and Jay was definitely more, you know,
Yeah.
you know, just
Yeah.
And he used to play the way he used to play on his hi hat. He doesn't do it anymore because he's been doing bobber.
Oh,
And-
Bobber.
But he still plays everything else the same. You know, the way he approaches the kick, the snare and everything. But back then he was, you know, that hi-hat shit he did.
Dude, the pudding time shit. Oh my God, dude, on that tape. It's like we used to sit there and the word be baffled and rack your brain just could not describe how the fuck did he play that hi-hat part. And he's making that shit up where Les is going, he's going,
oh yeah.
And you're like, me and Peter Libby used to stand there on the side of the stage at the Omni or wherever and be like,
what the
how
fuck?
the fuck is he doing that, dude? It's impossible. You can't do that on a drum set.
When he first started playing with Les and I actually didn't know what to do. I mean,
Wow.
because those two clicked so well that I kind of had to sit out and almost figure out mentally what I
A
was
way to
gonna
get
do,
in there,
what they
like
were
what
doing.
you were describing earlier. Yeah.
But luckily, I had been playing these parts forever, so it was
Yeah.
easy. You know, these guys, most of the time when they were playing together, would go off. They would just start going off the songs in the middle of songs. So trying to figure out how to fit a guitar part between Les going and
Yeah.
and
Jay going,
and Jay going like, what am I gonna do? So I would just hit like one note or something and just hanging out. You know, something that had nothing to do with what Les was playing and what Jay was playing. And I'd say, yeah, what do you want me to do? That's
It'll
all I
do.
can do here, guys.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Oh, man.
this is all setting up the reason why Porch first record sounded like it did, right? You were able to just go, motherfuckers in the band, get out of the way. Yeah,
You
wow.
just plowed through with that stuff. Yeah.
It's like you follow me.
I just, with Porch, I just said I was writing songs that I'd been wanting. It definitely has more of a rock thing.
Uh-huh.
What,
It was heavy. I loved it, man.
Yeah.
That's one of me and Nancy's favorite bands for sure.
That's what, and I was kind of I was trying to get there is that idea that you have this Porch record and the Sausage record coming out roughly at the same time, and it's the same guy playing guitar on the two, and they're so different. Do the Sausage tour, and I think you jump right in to playing with Porch, and I mean, by that time you're a seasoned guitar player, you know what you're doing, but does the mindset change going between bands like that as far as, you know, being on stage and performing, or are you just you?
Never thought about that.
Todd's the leader of the band in Porch.
Yeah.
Todd is just the guitar player.
I was the leader of Porch and the leader of Sausage. And
nice.
Today I'm the leader of Primus.
Right on.
I didn't know that. No,
Congratulations.
don't listen to what I'm saying.
You can cut that all out, Josh, but I'm saying it is important that, you know, it's your band now, Todd.
What?
And all that Porch stuff was very another direction from what all the Primus stuff was, you know, and it was like you expressing yourself at that moment, you know, where you didn't have somebody telling you play this or play that, or here's my old song, play this. You're like,
Well,
here's my stuff.
You know, on that note, you know, Les never told me what to play.
Well, I don't mean it like that. I just mean it was his band and his songs, and you just kind of went along with it, and you guys created that craziness. But when you did Porch, your records.
That's debatable.
Okay. Yeah. I'm just saying how I kind of saw it through the years, It's like, now, I mean, after you and Jay left, it's less.
Well, I think with Les and I, it was just a chemistry thing, man.
Yeah.
That's what it was. It was like we both came from different places and we put it together.
But that's what's so cool about it. That's what I think is the coolest thing about it.
Where Porch was me bringing in, songs and had a theory about how to put stuff together. So that they weren't that much different, but to your point on playing both at the same time, going from Porch to Sausage. I think a lot of Porch was just what it was, so I didn't have to think about it. Get up on stage and do it.
Yeah.
Sausage stuff, I think a lot of those songs we'd been doing for years. So it was just that way too. I'd just get up and start playing. And it might have been different eras, but the reason why I never thought about it was because it might have just been because that was one era, this was another era, and I was just used to both.
Moving along.
Used to both already, so I knew how to bounce back and forth from one to the other.
I teach sixth grade. That's my living, right? So it's it sounds like
wow, that's a chore.
Yes, absolutely. But it's one of those things where I feel like, okay, that's like going from my sixth grade classroom, maybe just across the hall to the eighth grade classroom. It's pretty much the same thing. The content's different, so your approach is going to be a little bit different, but not much. Yeah. It's still the same thing.
I think I have it easier. That sounds way harder than what I do.
No disagreement from me.
There was this show that we did when I was doing both bands. We did a show at Bimbo's. I think it was a Sausage or Porch record release. I can't remember, but
I think it was Sausage. I think I was at that one.
Was it? And Porch opened.
Yep. Yep. I was at that one. I worked that one, of course.
I was rehearsing with both bands at the same time, plus a full-time job, and so I hadn't slept in 2 days. I was running on coffee. I'd been lots of coffee, and we had rehearsed. So I thought before I had to do, and then I had to do 2 shows, Porch and Sausage.
2 bands in the same night.
Yeah. And so I went out to my car. I had to get some sleep. So I went out in the car, and then I don't know how much sleep I got. 2 seconds, maybe 2 hours. I don't even know what it was, but I woke up in a fit. Now you got, and I want to fuck. I don't even know what time it is. I got to get out there. So I go to the front of Bimbo's, and there's a guy taking pictures there, and it's like Kirk Hammett, Les, somebody from friggin' not James Dix, but
Faith No More,
probably.
Jim Martin.
I don't even remember, but everybody there was really famous, and
you're like, why am I not in this picture?
No, they go, hey Todd, come on, get in the picture, and I'm like, my hair's like this, and I just woke up out of a coffee stupor, and I wish I could find that picture, man. I wish, because I know these guys are like looking good, and here's me at the end just going
disheveled Todd.
I wish I could find that picture. I've looked, but I can't find it. So.
Frankie, this is the same venue where they did the CD-ROM thing with the residents.
Oh, that's awesome.
With the naked chick in the fish bowl. Yeah,
that's amazing.
Bimbo's there.
Bimbo's, what a great club, man.
Todd, can I ask you a few questions about Sausage?
Sure, go ahead.
So, how did you guys pick Robert Stephen Conant for the album cover?
I don't know. That was Les hooked up with somebody who knew the guy, and he'd seen some stuff. So he and I went out and checked out this guy's stuff, and some of it was more graphic than that.
Yeah.
I actually think I chose something that was way like knives, just blood and heads and stuff, and Les and I both agreed on the one that we picked, because
the pee on the floor one, right?
What?
The pee on the floor one.
Yeah, which was probably the tamest one, at that time. And
I'm surprised it was
we picked that, and I didn't think anything of it really. But I remember a few years, 10 years back, I looked at the cover again, and I just went, Jesus Christ, I never really looked at this thing. Because I never did. I just looked at it, I go, that's a really cool image, but I never really looked at the details and how she's peeing on the.
Yeah.
There's a problem there with that guy.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure what it was. I always just called it discharge, which is probably worse.
I mean, which makes it so there's probably a problem with Les and I for choosing that at the same time.
Yes.
But I never really looked at the details until about 10 years ago on that.
Pretty cool.
That guy's stuff was great. It was great. It's disturbing, but great.
Yeah.
Regarding toys, we have the Primus version, Frizzle Fry, which is kind of a march, but we have the sausage version on this record, which is completely different. But Tim has told Josh and I on previous occasions that there seems to be yet another version of Toys that you guys used to do. Do you have any recollection about that?
Before you collect your thoughts, I'm going to tell you what they're talking about.
Okay, good. Help me out here.
The last, I'd say maybe 5-6 shows with you and Jay, whatever, however many it was, I don't know. But Toys was the new song. But no, the way that you guys played it, you and Jay and Les, right before you guys quit, that was the new Primus song, even though it was an older song or whatever, you know.
Yeah.
The way you were playing it at the Omni and at those big shows, right when you and Jay cut out, was completely different than both versions that these guys know about.
I didn't know that because you know the version that's on, I believe, the record we did with Jay, right, is the one that I know. Yeah. So, but besides that, I don't know. That's
a whole new version of how it was at the end of '88 when you guys bailed out.
I mean, it could be.
No, it is. I know. I was there. I remember.
Yeah. All right, well, sing it for me, would you?
You guys went like this. The tempo was upbeat, and it went, but down, cut, down, diddle dun bound, cut, down, cut. It was all pushing forward.
Yeah, that sounds like sausage.
Well, now I remember.
But I'm saying on the sausage record, it goes, boom, cut.
Yeah.
Oh,
well, the beat that you were just singing sounds like Curveball. So I imagine we wrote
that was with Jay Lane. I never heard it with Curveball.
Well, Jay Lane was the one on the.
But I'm saying that version that Les did on the Riddles Are Abound Tonight was not what you guys were playing in 1988. Oh, right when you and Jay quit.
Yeah.
What I just sang to you was how it was in '88.
Okay.
And
I'll trust you.
Me and Flapjack and Libby and all those guys, we'd stand there and you would go, we were like, what the fuck? Holy shit, dude.
Hey, you know where that part came from that I wrote? This is interesting. I was doing pipe fitting at the time, you know, I was working with some guy and we were in this warehouse working and he goes, hey, you want to do some speed? I've never done it before, but sure. So I did speed and did a lot of dangerous shit on the job. Got in, I had this old Volkswagen Bug with this stereo, and Les had made the bass part, and I was supposed to come back with a part. And so I put the tape in, and on the way home, I'm like, you know, wigging out. And he's like, and I'm like, so I had to go home and figure that out, you know, on that fucking hardest song in the world to play, too.
I'm telling you, man, we used to shit our pants watching you play that part back.
Yeah, I used to shit my pants while I was playing it. You know,
where else is this guy gonna take this fucking guitar? Holy shit, dude!
Like
he quit.
The muscle right here became a rock. You know, as I, doing that. So no more speed songs.
Right.
What recollections do you have of shooting the video for the title track?
Yeah, aside from being electrocuted, which is not so pleasant.
Yeah. Oh, you heard about that? Yeah. That was a lot of fun. Had a lot of fun doing it. You know, it was crazy ass. You know, all the boom cameras and being up on that thing, that scaffolding. And I was okay until I got electrocuted. And then I thought, now who the fuck put the scaffolding together? You know, some guy ran a live wire up my back in this little tiny gauge wire. You know, 120 burned through my back, and then. So I started thinking, you know, is this scaffolding going to fall over? You know, because we're at the top doing our thing up there. You know, so it was fun up to that point, and then I kind of was ready to go home.
As one would be.
What?
That's perfect. Yeah, as one would be. I think I'd call it a day after that. That's for sure.
But that was cool. I mean, that was another one of Les's, you know, visions. He dreamed about it or something. I can't remember.
Yeah. It's pretty innovative. Really cool video.
And then he put it together, you know. Mm-hmm. So that's good. Dude knows how to do that.
Yeah. It was that was such an interesting year, '94, making that video and then having the notoriety with the Beavis and Butthead thing, and then doing Porch and touring Sausage, and then Porch doesn't have another release until 2011. And I remember hearing about it, I think just through the grapevine, and went, oh man, it seems like you didn't miss a beat when in 2011, Given Up is out there in the world. And I'm like, yeah, this sounds like Porch. Different drummer, like you said. Michael's a little different, but this sounds like Porch to me. So, I mean, were you stockpiling music throughout all those years in between?
Maybe. I'm not sure. I mean, I know I when I write a song, it's never done until I'm showing it to other people. So I imagine I was writing, and then all this stuff kind of came together, and it was actually Mike's idea to give Chris a call and just say, and Chris came down and put bass parts to that in like 2 days, and we recorded it. And so
right.
And so that was kind of a quick one and out, and then we decided to try and do, a little bit better than that. I kind of go back on that album, and I wish we would have spent a little more time on it and doing it. But then Walking Boss, we went up and did that.
Yeah.
That's a really cool album cover. What's the story behind it?
I think Mike did that, the drummer. He just put it together and said, "Hey, do you like this?" Because I said, I did Giving Up, and I thought, yeah, you guys, I did that. You guys do it now. And so Mike pulled that together. It was, that looks good, man. Let's do it.
Are you guys still playing shows live?
No, we haven't played in a while.
I think the last time I saw you was at the Parkside show. It was VF and Porch. But
yeah, we're tired of each other's faces right now,
God, I wish I could do that with my band. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, I'm tired of your face.
We still get a couple $100 each, so we keep showing up, looking at each other's faces, and going,
yeah. What am I doing?
All right.
I mean, I would do some more shows with them if it came about. It's fun. It's just
wasn't Chris living cross country for a while? Like, didn't he say he told me Nashville at some point? I think was he out there or no?
Yeah, he was in Nashville.
Okay,
so it was a long distance relationship.
Yeah.
Now he's in Portland.
Okay, hey, same time zone. Now you're in the ballpark at least.
Can you share your thoughts or recollections about your time in the Frog Brigade? What was it like for you? I mean, being back in a band with Liz, doing some sausage tunes, other, covers, all kinds of songs, but, making them jam vehicles.
It was was your guitar tech on occasion?
Were you my guitar tech on occasion?
Yes, I was.
Okay.
Go on. Carry on.
Thanks for... It was different thing than I ever, was in before. I'm not sure if I really fit in that thing. Cause, you had Skerrick and Enor and, Jeff
and Jay was on drums
and so it was almost like there were two bands up on stage at one time.
Yeah.
Because the other guys were on the outside of the stage and I was over here and I could almost not hear what they were doing. And those guys, they were jamming together every night, Yeah. So I would just kind of hear what they were doing and I just go, okay, I'm just going to go like this or something, and and so last one, he goes, I'm going to put Enor over here and put you with those guys. And I just went, I don't know what I'm going to do, man. And I go, these guys, they're proficient. I'm not. So they know how to play. I don't.
No, they're proficient in the jam vehicle, and you're
not.
Yeah,
I wasn't. So I just kind of stood there and went, shit, I'm not going to play. I'm just going to stand here and listen to these guys all night. And every once in a while, I'd play, and then we did the Pink Floyd stuff, and I had my part in that, so I'd play that. But every time we went off on a jam thing, I would just kind of sit back and just do some kind of rhythm thing, on my guitar. They were doing, all this stuff, and I was like, well, I don't know how to do with that, guys. Just different thing. So, I didn't last long in Frog Brigade.
But I mean, listening to the recordings, the live volume 1 and 2, what you did on those nights was really amazing.
Oh, I'll have to go back and listen to it.
I'd never heard him. I was there that night. I helped you guys that night. I was your tech that night.
Yeah.
It was me, and I think I set up everybody that night because there was no money to pay techs. It's like, it's Sawyer to get out of here. Come on, Sawyer. Fuck.
Great American Music Hall, right?
Yeah. We did 2 nights. Yeah. And Skerrick had like a 18-foot pedal board for his horn.
It was a really fun tour, though. I mean, musically, I was up on stage and I felt like a fish out of water most of the time. But as far as the tour goes and hanging out with those guys, we had a great time.
A fun bunch for sure.
Yeah, it must have been strange getting thrown into this, the world of improvisation And
Right,
but then
right,
being in such a
right.
big band, because as you said, you prefer a 3-piece and the smaller groups. So then all of a sudden there's all these guys on stage taking up all this space, and they're all taking solos. I guess that would be very different.
Yeah.
That's like
Yeah.
me going into a kindergarten class, and I did that once, and it was the worst 45 minutes of my life. So
Yeah.
what
What are these things?
Yes, I told you to start writing the letter C, yet you're rolling on the ground. What is why?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Ugh, it was horrible.
Yeah. My wife works with little kids, so she's really good at it too. I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it.
She has my
couldn't do
eternal envy, not envy, but my eternal appreciation because I can't do it.
Yeah. But yeah, that was a good time. That was a good time. I think Jay actually talked Les into getting me as a guitar player. I think Les was like, really? You can play this stuff? And I was like, yeah, dude, get him to play. So I came in and went, dink, dink, dink.
Get him out of here. He can't do this stuff.
I just got to hang out.
So, and it was a mutual thing at the end. Les and I both knew. We both knew that I was.
Didn't fit. Yeah.
I was just like, okay, whatever. Dude, I know I can't play this shit.
Yeah. Well, it'd be really great to kind of round it out by revisiting that sausage show from 2019 because we were all there. Soya says he had the best seat in the house, but I don't know. But
Where were you sitting?
Right next to Elmo,
there you go.
standing next to your amp, watching Jay Lane play "Shattering Song" was the greatest thing ever. But whatever. I'm a drummer. Sorry.
So
Did that song go well?
Yes.
Yeah, it was
Every single song
incredible.
went well.
It was
Yeah.
absolutely
Every song
amazing.
went well. I'm a huge fan. That's one of my favorite records of all time.
yeah,
I asked that because I was thinking, okay, that was probably the best song of the night from up where I was.
It was ripping.
It was
All of it
great.
was ripping.
I will say that when you were on that radio program, I'm 1,000 years old, but when you were on that show, and you said, "Oh yeah, Sausage is going to play New Year's Eve."
We freaked out big
Yeah,
time.
I told Frankie, I'm like, "Holy shit!" He said, "Sausage is playing New Year's Eve. I have to go."
No kidding, Todd. When we found out, I made travel arrangements that same day.
Yeah. So it's
Really?
like we
Wow.
have to go.
Yeah,
So we as soon as the official announcement came out and the tickets were available, we were on top of it and just like, yep, we're going to
yeah.
this.
I was like, I'm not missing this for
Yeah.
the world because I also love that album. There are periods of time when I listen to it weekly, and I just never tire of it. It's just one of the most unique records in the world in
I
terms
agree.
of
Thanks.
I agree.
everything about it is amazing. So when we heard about the reunion, we were freaking out big time.
Tim, when you heard about it, what did you do?
Well,
Called Frankie.
I knew that Les always plays New Year's, and when he does the Claypool Lennon thing, I'm not a crew member, So I was
Hey,
like,
man, I was surprised as you guys. So
Yeah.
well, and then like Brad Sands calls me and he's like, "So hey, what do you do for New Year's this year, dude? What the hell are you doing?" And I was like, "Nothing. What's going on?" He goes, "Hey, we need your help, dude. Sausage is playing. Can you take care of that and Jay Les?" And I was like, "Ooh, wow." I was like, "Yes,
I'll be on stage.
Of course I'll do that." I don't want to go stand in the crowd or stand backstage. I want to be part of it, because I was part of it from the beginning,
It seemed like people out in the audience knew the songs.
Yeah,
I think so. I mean,
Oh yeah.
dude, for me, one of the most incredible moments of that whole night was standing with Elmo, and you would be shredding some moment, and I would look at Elmo, and he'd look at me, and I'd give him like,
The
and
nod.
he'd go,
Did you see what happened?
"Yep, that's my dad right there," and I'd be like, "Yeah, dude, Elmo knows what's up."
Did you hear what happened at the end? During
we noticed.
Putting
the two
time into
Primus
Tommy.
tunes?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Tommy the Cat and Putting Time.
Yeah.
What?
Did they hang you out to dry there? Is that what happened?
a little bit. That's okay. We were doing Putting Time, and I was doing that part. Ding, 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 whatever the fuck it is.
Yeah.
And I'm waiting for those guys to come in, right? And I couldn't hear Les very well. Okay.
Oh.
And he starts playing, but I'm just hearing him doing ticka 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 ticka, and I didn't know he went into Pudding Time. I didn't know. And so he's sitting there playing Pudding Time, he and Jay, and I'm like ding ding, and I'm like,
Oh, Tommy,
"Hey."
right?
Now,
Tommy.
I can't. Yeah, we went into that, and I kind of stopped, and then I went, oh, I got to keep going, so I kept going, and then I look back, and they're both staring at me. Like, dude, what are you doing? I'm like, what do you mean? What am I doing? I'm playing the goddamn song. And then Jay flips me off,
Yep. Yeah.
and he just looks at me, smiles, and goes, "Fuck you, man." And so then we went into Pudding or Tommy, whatever the fuck.
Yeah.
That was a great night, man. That was really magical for me and Nancy, because we lived that record, from the moment it came out, and did all those shows working for you guys and all that moment. the end of it. I didn't do the Rollins tour, but
Yeah,
it's a great record, man. And it was great to see you guys do that again. You guys really, really performed well that night on that stuff for not having have done it for 40 years.
Well, we got together once to go over it.
Just once, really?
I wasn't there for that. Where did you guys do that? At Rancho? Did you guys drive up?
No, we went to the winery, Les's Winery.
Oh, yeah, the jam room back in the back there. Yeah.
And we had seen Les and I hadn't seen each other since Frog Brigade. And I walked in and he said, "Who's this fucking old guy coming in?"
Nice.
He looked at me and I'm like, "Hey, it's me." And the only reason why I recognize him is because he's this tall and
So Todd, when you guys got together at the winery, did you go through the entire album? Because when this was announced, we were expecting to hear the entire record, but Jay told us that Les was kind of bummed out about some kind of incident, and he chose to omit "Here's to the Man" from the set list.
Because there might have been a school shooting or something.
Yeah,
that happened. Right
and you guys also skipped the last track, "Caution Should Be Used." So I'm wondering if you went over the full record, and then why did you guys skip some numbers during the performance?
I don't remember why we didn't do "Here's the Man." I didn't mind though, because I never cared playing that song even on tour. It was a kind of weird. I don't know. It just the energy was like. Then it went. And, the audience did
favorites on the record.
I know, dude. That's what everybody tells me too. It's like, and the audience doesn't feel that way. I just feel that way personally. But the trucker one, we never played that live. That was just a jam. Something we threw at the end of the record.
We played it once.
Oh,
we did.
There you go.
Yeah, during the 1994 tour.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Come on, where?
Yeah, let me
Detroit,
check my spreadsheet.
Where was it, man?
Yeah. I know you knew that we played it. Maybe
at the Greek Theater.
Maybe we did play it. Maybe we did play that song. I don't remember playing it though, but maybe we did. I remember once we played "Here's the Band" down in Arizona, and we were doing the real loud part, and a sandstorm came in. You
guys did it at Bimbo's 365 in San Francisco in 1994, and then you also did it at Slim's.
"Here's to the Man" or
no, "Caution Should Be Used."
Oh, you're looking this stuff up. I could see in the glasses.
He's got a spreadsheet.
Yeah.
Frankie is an encyclopedia of all the facts.
There's actually stuff online that tells you.
No, he's cataloged all knowledge.
Oh, you did. Wow.
It was a really incredible performance, Todd, and something happened to me that night that hadn't happened in a while. When I started seeing Primus live for the first few times, it was, kind of ethereal, was like a dream. But then that kind of wore off, and I got used to it. But when I saw Sausage perform, that same thing happened again. And, the first 3 songs, it felt like a dream. I wasn't even sure if it was happening. It was so surreal. It wasn't until recreating that I kind of told myself, all right, yeah, this is happening. I'm watching Sausage perform live.
Yeah.
I got one question. The outfit that I was wearing up there, did it make me look like a pumpkin?
You look great. No, you look fantastic.
Totally made you look fat.
I know it did.
Your ass was fat on that.
You look.
Costume.
It's like a Jay had this. We're backstage and Janie brought in the outfits,
Yeah.
And there were 2. One's big size and 2 middle sizes for Les and I. And,
I was standing there, dude. That was amazing.
And Jay put his on, and for some reason his had shoulder things inside that came up to here.
Oh my gosh.
And he's like, "What the fuck is this, man? What the fuck is this?" And he's doing that. And so he's like, "I'm tearing this shit out." And I go, "Yeah, then tear it out." The dude's ripping the shit out. So I, by accident, put Les's jacket on, and his was all like tailored, and I was looking good, man. I didn't know it was his. I was like, and he comes in and he goes, "Dude, that's mine. That's mine." And I go, "Oh, okay. So he traded, and I put that piece of shit on that is like, and it was like an umbrella thing that went like this, and I'm just like, what the fuck? But anyway, it looked good. I looked good. I
the trim figure.
Yeah, it looked great, man. I got great pics.
Yeah, it was amazing.
Video snaps.
I had character. Let's put it that way.
Definitely. Yeah. Was there any talk after that show about doing more gigs? Because it just seems like it came off so well.
No.
Oh wow. Okay, so you guys,
it's a one-off.
It's a one-off.
Yeah, it's a one-off. Usually we do sausage shows when Les wants to do a sausage show. Mm-hmm. He'll get in touch with me. We almost did one at his winery about 3 years ago, but Jay was out of town, and so getting people together.
That might have been the year Holy Mackerel played.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay.
Wow.
I think there's going to be a Sausage Holy Mackerel tour coming up soon.
That's what Brain said, right?
That's what he said. He goes, the ultimate tour I could ever do in the world of Primus would be Sausage and Holy Mackerel on the same stage every night for a tour.
Go.
With Jay as a drummer or him
No,
as a drummer?
with Jay and Sausage and Brain and Holy Mackerel.
Oh, okay.
Brain can start agitating for that. We can get it going.
Yeah.
You got
Todd, I'm wondering if you're planning to be more active on your YouTube channel, Todd Plays, because the videos that are available are really fantastic.
like the one where I played John the Fisherman. That one.
Yeah, you play John the Fisherman, and then there are a few more videos with some performances.
Yeah, I'm doing some more. I mean, I'm going to do some more. I just did one where I show how I played, Pudding Time and Tommy the Cat.
Ooh.
But my kids came in and said, dude, you got to step your game up, because it's just me like this going, I think it's fine still. I think it's all right, but I gotta figure that out, get a little better production. I guess.
Do some kind of a theatrical playthrough as well or something like that. Yeah, I don't know.
Instead of being in my little dark man cave here with a picture of Muhammad Ali on the wall.
Yeah. Everyone's got production value now,
I know, man.
Get some nice lights and a camera. And you're
I can't even get Zoom going.
Well, I'm glad you did tonight, man.
My kids did actually.
Oh, well, that was kind of.
I was about ready to text him and say, dude, I can't figure this shit out. And my kid came in and went, push 2 buttons, and there it was.
Well, I got to tell you, for somebody who professes to not have any, presence in the digital realm or really know-how of it, there's porch.bandcamp.com for all your Porch needs, and I can't recommend that band enough. Todd Huth Plays on YouTube, great channel, and on
Amazing.
Spotify, the recording Good Morning Slaves. You just put that out last fall, I think?
Yeah, last year. Got it up last year.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm working with a lot of cool musicians right now.
Absolutely. I mean, the lineup for those,
That's
Jay,
amazing.
Eugene Robinson, Trevor Dunn, and then this track, I'm going to point to the Mercy Please track with Michelle Strand. Love her voice.
No
Love
shit,
it.
right?
Oh my gosh. Big fan of
It
that.
gives me chills when I hear her sing that song.
Yes.
It's crazy.
That one stood out to me for sure.
Is that released?
Yeah, the first part of it. There's another 6 or 7 songs that we're working on right now. It's on Spotify and iTunes and all that stuff.
Every time I open up my iTunes, there's like you or like the featured guest, featured artist. It's always Todd Huth and somebody.
That's
There
because
you
I'm
go.
so famous, man.
That's what I'm saying, dude. It's like you're huge, man.
Yeah, I'm like Britney Spears.
That's Todd Huth,
Bigger.
Britney Spears. I'd listen to that. Absolutely. And then how about, last question for me, as live music starts to return, thank goodness, any plans for performances with some of these folks you've been recording with or putting a band together?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I'm trying to see what I can do with Porch to do some other stuff, but
Awesome.
I think Michelle and I are going to play together. Jay plays a lot on that. That's him playing drums on that stuff. So, and then Curtis Nishimura is playing bass. He's played in Porch for just a little bit.
Okay.
And if I can get everybody together, we'll go out as a band, but otherwise I might go out solo with Michelle. Or I'm going to do acoustic and she'll sing.
And that project that we're about to start, Todd, we're going to do too, right?
Yeah. What do you want to do? Want to do
There
a
you
Primus cover band?
Nope.
Anything but.
Come on, man. Send me some shit. Let's jam.
I will. I got some shit actually, because I've been doing some work with Steve Moriarty. You know who that is? He's the drummer of the old Gits band. The Gits.
Oh, okay. The Gits.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And I got 4 songs we did with him that I just haven't mixed yet. And
Cool.
You got a lot in the hopper, man. That's excellent.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
For a guy who doesn't know how to use computers, it's horrible.
Yeah.
It's trying to get this stuff done. It's really hard.
I think that the biggest issue you've had tonight was the cat keeps coming in the room. It's not the computer at all.
Yeah,
It's the
yeah.
cat.
Well, the cat gives me a excuse to take a break from trying to figure out how to get that window open.
But you did good, dude. It's great to have you on, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks.
It's been fun.
Good talking.
Yeah. Absolutely.
It was absolutely amazing speaking with you. Thank you so much.
You
Thanks.
bet. Yeah. Todd Huth Plays on YouTube, porch.bandcamp.com. Good Morning
Check it
Slaves
out.
on Spotify. Holy crap. He's an impresario. Thanks again, Todd.
All right, guys.